Bungie, guys, I don't think this is the right approach here. So, as I'm sure everyone here is aware, Bungie opted to make a few little changes to the control playlist. In an attempt to minimize the percentage of players leaving mid-match, they've enabled the competitive quitter penalty on Control. Yeah, Control, a casual quick play playlist. The worst part about this is they said nothing. Nothing in the hotfix patch notes, nothing on social media, at least at the time of writing this. Bungie, guys, seriously, don't do that to folks. But what are these changes anyway? Given that the change was undocumented and I'm unwilling to test it at this time myself, as far as I can tell, if a player leaves a control match for any reason mid-game, they'll be met with a warning when they return to orbit for the first time. For future infractions, the player will receive a 30-minute timeout, preventing them from loading back in as punishment. Sounds simple enough, right? But there's no official statement and so many questions. For example, for how long after first warning will the next infraction lead to a timeout? Surely, if I end up getting booted if 2 different days entirely, I'm not going to get timed out on the second day, am I? Why does the message still say competitive? It's almost like this was half-assed and out of left field. How does this affect a variety of players of all kinds? Well, that question I can at least give you some answers to. You see, as an adult who works full-time, is married, has a dog, well, I've got a lot going on most of the time, and I don't get a lot of time to just sit and game. So when I finally do get to sit down and I feel like playing some PvP, there's still a very high chance I'll have to run from my desk at a moment's notice to assist my wife with something, to let my dog out, which requires me to be outside with him, to leash him and take him for a walk. And when those things do happen, and they do quite frequently, I'm away from my desk from anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. Before, I could just dart, solve the problem, no hesitation, knowing that if I wasn't quick enough to get back to the match, I could just load back in. Now, well, I think I'm going to need to avoid control unless I can guarantee I will have 0 interruptions, which is very difficult for me. Yeah, that's just people like me. What about kids and teens? How might they be affected? Now, I'm not a kid anymore, and I'm not exactly in touch with what it's like to be a kid anymore, but I do know what it was like growing up for me. And if I heard my name being yelled from downstairs, I needed to go see what the hell it was ASAP. There was no luxury of saying no, and yes, some days I could say, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Others, I definitely did not have that liberty. And yet, even on the days where I couldn't push it back, it would often be a small 10-minute task, and, well, if I were that kid again now, I would be back on my computer to find that I've been booted from my match and can't load in because odds are I'm getting pulled away more than once as a kid. And that's not fun. I would be upset at the game, at Bungie, at my parents, and, well, Bungie making me upset at my parents is not a good thing, but that's not healthy. Now, beyond the personal life issues that might drag someone away from the match, what about the internet? Sure, you have a bad connection, getting booted from a game, it sucks for you, but it's definitely better for everyone else on that match. But I know that where I am, consumer ISPs, they suck. Their connections are relatively inconsistent on some days, and to get anything better, you have to pay out the ass. It's ridiculous. Or, just be a business. Have a business plan, which is also ridiculously expensive, but they're where the good connections are. And many people, they don't get any say in their ISP and connection, be it because of where they live, there's only one option, be it because they're a kid, they don't get the option, they get whatever their parents buy. And that's a space that, well, at the end of the day, I don't think the infractions have much of a detrimental impact when it comes to ISPs and connections, because players consistently getting booted for connection issues would likely realize they should just back out for a bit. At least I would hope. But Daedalus, you're blowing this out of proportion. It's really not that big a deal. Well, you'd be right with that statement. It isn't a big deal. But it happens to be something that directly affects my experience with Destiny, and I know I'm not alone there. Sure, a 30-minute timeout isn't all that long in the grand scheme, but it's long enough for people who only get an hour of time tops. Sure, the penalty comes on the second infraction, giving you leniency, but sometimes shit happens, and it really sucks to lose most of your available gaming time because of something like that. At least the rotator playlist isn't affected, And I've been informed while writing this that the penalty has actually been disabled temporarily while background maintenance is occurring. So we'll see what happens once that concludes. Hopefully Bungie says something in the new TWAB. But at the end of the day, this is Bungie's game. And Bungie needs to collect their player data, analyze it, and do with it what they feel best. And even though the quitter penalty is a band-aid rather than stitches, if it's the route they want to go to fix the quitter problem, then it's the route they're gonna go. And the only thing players can do is speak their opinion and play other games or game modes. As for me, well, at this point, I'm just gonna get my fix from Splatoon. Splat 3 just dropped, and I'm having a blast there. Hell, even Salmon Run is more fun than Gambit right now, and I do genuinely enjoy Gambit, mind you. I suppose that's just a weird way of saying that this whole video was just my way of telling you all to expect some Splatoon content soon. Bye.